In 2007, I was just an 8-year-old girl. I was living a pretty sheltered life. I was a bit of a socialite with a lot of friends. I was well liked, did well in school, and I had a good home life. In general, I was a really happy kid, and I did not know much about sex offenders or sexual molesting or anything until my life went to hell. Now, at this time, my father had been free for 18 years with no new convictions, and it had been 10 years since he was awarded a certificate of rehabilitation, and a forensic psychologist said that he was no risk, showing no pedophilic tendencies. So, as far as I'm aware, the pamphlet came out on a Thursday evening, and I did still go to school on Friday, and I could tell that something was wrong, but I didn't really know what it was. And it was the same thing with the next day when I was supposed to go to a friend's house for a birthday party, and I ended up not being allowed to go, and I had no idea why. And it wasn't until Sunday when my parents sat me down, they started telling me the same story I told you guys. And as much as only a little stuck at that time, it did start to explain what was happening. And over time, I learned more and more of the story, and I remembered more and more and understood. And but at that time, I mean, I was still a really little kid, and it all just felt really unreal to me. I was expecting the problem to just go away and for things to go back to the way that they were before, but they never did. Now, luckily enough, I did not have to go to school the next week because it was spring break, but at the same time, I ended up getting really down because I couldn't really spend time with any of the friends that I had planned on spending time with over the spring break. I couldn't play with any of my friends, and just nothing ever happened. All of my interactions with my friends just ended. So at one point over the break, I had seen one of my friends with her mother walk by on the sidewalk while I was playing in the parking lot of our apartment building. Now, my friend, she tried to say hi and she wanted to play with me, but as I walked up, her mother wouldn't even look at me, and she was like scooting her daughter away, pulling her away like I was contagious, and saying to her daughter, now, you can't play with her anymore and you can't even come near this place. And to me, that like really hurt because it was one of the first instances that I had of someone just completely rejecting me, completely treating me as if I was crap in front of my face right there. And it's when I truly began to understand the impact that all of this was going to have on my life. Now, another experience that I had soon after this was at my grandmother's house when I was visiting her, and I was trying to play with some of my best friends who lived across the street. But when I went and knocked on their door, their parents came out and told me, like, you know what? I can't come near their daughter. Their daughter won't play with me. I cannot come near their house. Do not talk to them. Do not talk to their daughter. Just stay away, and that they're sorry that's how it has to be, but it is. And then they closed the door on me, and I could hear them through the door telling their kids to just stay away, to not talk to me, play with me, or come near my grandmother's house. And at that time, I mean, again, I was just a little kid. I was just 8 years old, and I mean, I couldn't understand why exactly this was happening, and I went from having tons of friends and to being really happy to having no friends and being told to stay away by everyone under the sun. I mean, it was just a really painful experience, especially since her parents really knew me. I was there all of the time, and they just turned me away just like that, even though they knew that I was a really good friend of their kids, and it was really painful. Now, I did not end up going back to school right after the spring break because my parents and my grandmother had tried to talk to the school about my being harassed because of the pamphlet coming out, and the school told them that it was not in the interest of the school to speak to any family member about either what was happening because of the pamphlet or my education, and so they ended up taking me out and homeschooling me because how can you send your child to a school that doesn't even want to talk about their education or care about the fact that they're being harassed? And I ended up finding out much later when I got into the 6th grade that right after the spring break, when everyone went back to school, some of the kids got a hold of the pamphlet and they were passing it around the classes and talking about it and bringing up like rumors and things like that, and pretty much just talking about me behind my back. And from that point on, my childhood was essentially destroyed. I mean, the life that I knew shattered and it never came back. And it was like this for the next 6 years.